Auntie Momo. "I like Square City," Jenny said. "Me too," said Jerry. "Auntie Momo and Uncle Jim always spoil us." When the twins arrived, they screamed and ran to their Auntie Momo. Auntie Momo works in the government of Square City. She knows everybody. On their way to the supermarket, Jerry and Jenny saw a long line of traffic where drivers were honking loudly. Auntie Momo said, "Don't worry, we'll find a way out of this fast." When she drove up to a police officer, she rolled down the window and handed the officer a $100 bill. The police officer soon directed them through the traffic. Jerry and Jenny were shocked because their parents always told them it's not fair to cut in lines unless there is an emergency. At the supermarket, Auntie Momo told the twins to get some snacks. When the twins came back with chocolate bars, the cashier winked and let them through without charging them. Jerry opened and took a bite of the chocolate. Then he spat it out right away and said, "It tastes funny." Jenny looked at the package date and said it expired a month ago. The twins took the chocolate bars to Auntie Momo. She looked at them and said to the twins, "I'll be right back, sweetie." The owner came and they talked behind a counter for a minute. Then they shook hands. Auntie Momo came back with a smile and another box of chocolate bars in her hand. "What did the owner say, Auntie Momo?" asked Jerry. "That's settled. Mr. Stone is a friend of mine, and I help him every time with his yearly safety check," said Auntie Momo. The twins did not like free snacks, and that Auntie Momo allowed the store owner to get away with selling bad chocolate. After dinner, the twins saw President Fairson on TV, saying that corruption is the enemy of a country and everybody should fight it. Jerry asked Uncle Jim what it meant. Jim looked at the twins and said, "Corruption means dishonesty or illegal behavior, especially by powerful people, such as government officials or police officers. In other words, corruption means working for the government, cheat, lie, or steal from citizens." The twins turned to look at Auntie Momo right away, and they saw that Auntie Momo's face was turning red. The Prince with Donkey Ears. A long time ago, there was a kind prince who had floppy ears shaped like a donkey. The king and the queen were very worried about their son's ears and put a hat to cover them up. As the prince grew up, he needed a hairdresser. The king told the hairdresser, "You must promise never to tell anyone that our prince has ears shaped like a donkey." The hairdresser kept the promise for many years, but he found it getting harder and harder to keep the secret. One morning, the hairdresser walked out of the village where he was all alone and began to dig. When he made a deep hole, he leaned over into it and shouted, "The prince has ears shaped like a donkey! The prince has ears shaped like a donkey!" This poor man felt much better. Then he covered the hole with dirt and grass and returned to his home. A seed of reeds landed on top of the hole. Many years later, it grew into a field of reeds. One day, a young boy picked a piece of reed and made it into a whistle. When he blew, the whistle cried out, "The prince has ears shaped like a donkey! The prince has ears shaped like a donkey!" The boy quickly ran with the whistle and played it in front of all the children of the village. They giggled and laughed, and before long, every child of the village made a whistle out of the reeds that cried, "The prince has ears shaped like a donkey! The prince has ears shaped like a donkey!" The king and queen heard about the whistle and were upset and angry at the hairdresser. "You did not keep your promise and betrayed our trust. You should be punished," said the king. The kind prince heard about what had happened. He went to the king and took off his hat in front of the villagers. Everyone stared at the donkey ears. Now it's not a secret anymore, my king. Please let the poor hairdresser go. A man should not be punished for telling the truth." The villagers cheered with tears and said, "We love the prince who has ears shaped like a donkey. We love the prince who has ears shaped like a donkey." The Well of Truth. Long ago, a goat, a rooster, and a donkey decided to grow clover together. They pulled up the weeds, plowed the ground, and planted the clover seeds. Soon the clovers began to grow. "Is it ready now?" asked the impatient donkey. "Not yet," said the rooster. "If we wait, it will taste nice and sweet," said the goat. After a few weeks, the clovers had grown bigger. "Is it ready now?" asked the donkey. "Not yet," said the rooster. "Just a little more time, and it will be perfect," agreed the goat. A few days later, they returned to the field and decided that they will eat the clovers together the next morning. But the donkey couldn't sleep that night. He sneaked into the field and took a bite of the sweet-smelling clover. So good, so sweet. Just one more bite. Then he said to himself, "Oh, no one would notice if I take one more bite." The donkey couldn't help himself. It wasn't long before he had eaten the whole field of clover. The next morning, the rooster and the goat knocked on the donkey's door. "Wake up, donkey! It's time to eat our clovers," they shouted. But the donkey had a terrible stomach ache. He moaned, "I am not feeling well today. You go ahead and save some for me." When the rooster and the goat got to the field, "Our clovers are gone!" cried the rooster. "It must have been the donkey," yelled the goat. They rushed back to the donkey's house. "We know you ate the clovers," accused the rooster and the goat. "It wasn't me. One of you must have eaten the clovers," defended the donkey. "Let's go to the Well of Truth," said the goat. "Anyone who tells a lie will fall in." When they got to the Well of Truth, the rooster went first. He said, "To prove that I did not eat the clover, the Well of Truth I will jump over. If I do lie to one and all, into the well I'll surely fall." The rooster jumped and easily made it over the well. The goat was next. He swore the same oath, and he also jumped over the well with no problem. It was the donkey's turn. He looked nervously at the Well of Truth. He spoke slowly. "To prove that I did not eat the clover, the Well of Truth I will jump over. If I do lie to one and all, into the well I'll surely fall." Then the donkey jumped, and he fell right into Auntie Momo. "I like Square City," Jenny said. "Me too," said Jerry. "Auntie Momo and Uncle Jim always spoil us." When the twins arrived, they screamed and ran to their Auntie Momo. Auntie Momo works in the government of Square City. She knows everybody. On their way to the supermarket,